Well, nothing else like Kashi in the whole world. You go down to the Ganga, right? You go to Vishwanath, walking around. Last night I was at Kalbaro, right? Nothing like Kashi. The Shakti, the power for sadhana, for moksha is nothing like it. For me, I also love Haridwar. I love Rishikesh, to go up into the foothills of the Himalayas. And I've also had the blessings to go up into the Himalayas, some to do some sadhana. I spent sadhana up in Uttarkashi, where you go up there, the Ganga is so clear, right? Everything is so pristine up there. Walking through the Himalayas, meeting yogis up there, doing sadhana. There's a shanti up there that is so powerful. The energies in the Himalayas is nothing like anywhere I've been. To go there, to see the peaks, and to experience the energy there, phenomenal. So much materialism. They worship money, worship sex, worship power, right? This is the worship of America. Here we worship Shiva, right? Worship Vishnu. It's very different. But when you worship these things of the body, we worship money, we worship power, it's very shallow. Eventually something happens, maybe a disease, or someone gets fired, or relationship breaks. And then what? Realize that what I've been worshiping my whole life doesn't give me what I'm looking for. So then something new is needed.
नमस्कार, बहुत स्वागत है आप सभी का प्यारा भारत पर। भारत की आध्यात्मिक ज्ञान परंपरा ने विश्व को हमेशा से ही प्रभावित किया है। इसीलिए आपने देखा होगा कि पश्चिमी देशों में भी भारत के जो आध्यात्मिक गुरु हैं, उन्होंने बड़ा ही प्रभावित किया है पश्चिमी देशों को। चाहे वो स्वामी विवेकानंद हो, श्रीला प्रभुपाद हो, परमहंस योगानंद हो, या ओशो हो, या ऐसे अन्य कई सारे गुरु हैं। तो ऐसे ही आध्यात्मिक ज्ञान परंपरा से प्रभावित होके एक अमेरिकन जो है, उन्होंने सनातन धर्म को स्वीकार किया है। अब वो सनातन धर्म का प्रचार प्रसार करने के लिए लगे हैं और वो महामंडलेश्वर भी बन गए हैं। तो आज हम उन्हीं से बात करेंगे। सो लेट्स वेलकम श्री त्रिवेदी दास जी टू आवर चैनल। He is a Mahamandaleshwar at Nirvadi Akhada. Swamiji, very welcome to you. So, you are Mahamandaleshwar now and you are in India. Please tell us about your journey, means how an American person becomes Mahamandaleshwar in India.
Om Jai Jai Sai Ma. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo, Maheshwara, Guru Satshat Para Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Welcome. Delighted to be with you here today. For me, my journey of Sanatan Dharma really begins and ends with my Guruji, Jagadguru Saima Lakshmi Devi. I was a student in the United States of America, going to college, where a friend of mine said, "Would you like to come meet this Guru?" I had no concept. What is Guru? I don't know. But I said yes. So we drove many hours, different city, and to go meet Jagadguru Saima Lakshmi Devi. When I met and had darshan, the experience of darshan, it's like it went into me. It went into my atma, went into my heart, and opened my heart in a way I had never experienced before. It was like my entire life I had been living and experiencing life through a thick glass that is filled with smoke. You know, like you can't see the world properly. Everything is obscured, everything is hidden. But my guru cracked this glass and everything broke open. My heart became open, the world became more clear, and this began my path of Sanatan Dharma. This was almost about 20 years ago now, in 2005.
So what is your age now?
Age now is 39.
39, so
Yeah.
it is about 19 years.
Yeah.
So you are studying for, means you are studying then, and for 20 years from now, you are into Hinduism, into promoting this.
Yes, yes. I've been in this path of Sanatan Dharma now for about 20 years.
So when you are studying, what you are studying at that time?
I was studying at university, studying psychology.
Psychology.
So studying the human mind, studying how do we heal the humanity, but from a very Western perspective, from that analytical, from the mind. And when I met my Guruji, there was that sense of the heart coming in, the spirituality, the Atma that was missing from the Western psychology for me.
So you left study?
I finished my studies and then began to full-time with my Guru.
When you become full-time?
I met my Guru in 2006, and then full-time just with my guru in 2011, so a few years later, 2005 to 2011.
So you finished your studies, and you did not get into jobs and this type of things?
No, when it was like this. So when I met my guru, I saw that this was for me, the path, right? My life. It's hard to describe in words that sense of the inner calling that said, yes, this path's for me. So a few years, I finished my studies, all of this complete, and then fully 100% with my guru.
So what is your family background? Means you need resources for doing all these things. So where did you get resources?
Well, for me, the guru's always found ways to provide. So I grew up in upstate New York, in a little town called Ithaca, New York. My parents were part of the hippie movement.
Hippie movement?
Hippie, you know hippies? More liberal in the United States, people that kind of wanted an alternative way to live. So my mother came from a Christian background, my father came from a Jewish background, but then they became vegetarian, which was unusual in the United States at this time. So I grew up as a vegetarian. So I had a foundation of certain principles of Sanatan Dharma, and I didn't even realize this. But not incredibly wealthy. We had enough to eat, but this was it. So in meeting my guru, I'd find ways, with the grace, everything becomes possible through seva, through volunteer, through everything being taken care of.
So you are saying that hippie pathway is means better lifestyle, like vegetarian, this type of things?
Yeah, better or worse, I don't know, but it's an alternative. It was a different approach in the United States of people that said, I want to live a different way. So they exposed me to new thinking, which I think helped me be open to meeting my guru and living my life in a different way.
So a little bit more about hippie movement.
So the hippie movement, I think in the United States, there was a sense of rigidity around the way that politics worked, the way the religion worked, the way all these things worked in the United States in the 50s, moving into the 60s. So you might have heard of the 60s in the United States. This was a big revolution that took place in the 1960s in the United States. Things like Woodstock or the Beatles or other elements there that took place. There was very much a revolution in thinking. And this is where the Beatles introduced Maharishi Mahesh Yogi and transcendental meditation, so that they became more interested in different aspects and things like this. So this movement has continued in different ways, and my parents, I think, were very much influenced by this.
So can you describe your experience with Jagadguru Lakshmi Ma? So what was that experience that you decided that you will get into this fully?
Yeah. For me, it's an experience of inside. My guru speaks of sadhana, the spiritual practice, is going from outside to within, to discover who we are within. Especially in the West, but around the world, there's so much of a focus in the outside world of possessions, of relationships, of career, of things that are on the outside. We could say the senses going to the outer world. Very few turn our senses and go to our inner world to discover the treasure, to discover what's within. In meeting my guru, I began to be introduced to the world within, to the extraordinary Atma, the spirituality, the cosmos that exist within us, within our consciousness. And so through this path of being and discovering more and more of what's within me, I began to experience, well, I'll say it this way, that one of my guru's teachings, and this is an English language, so I'll see if I can explain, there's happiness and there's bliss. Have you heard these words before?
Yes.
Yes, so happiness, my guru says, is a result of something outside. So you show up, you give me a car, you give me money. Oh, I'm so happy you gave me these things, right? Like this. But bliss, don't get from the outside world. Bliss comes from within, right? In Sanatan Dharma, we speak of what is the essence of humans. Sat, Chit, Ananda. So who we are within is bliss. But it's covered, layers, covered of misunderstanding, of ignorance, of beliefs, of past karma, right? All these things are covering the gold of Satchitananda, of who we are. So my guru is very powerful through Shaktipat, through healing, through work, to cut through these layers of ignorance, to expose so we can experience who we are. And for me, the first night I met my guru, I had a taste of this. So my guru had me do pranayama, so we're breathing, and then press my eyes, very strong like this, pressing the eyes, and immediately it was like my whole consciousness shifted. and the world dissolved, and I became this massive field of light, of shimmering gold light. So the identity of whom I knew myself to be, the human being, it's like it dissolved. And so I just became this light. I became this consciousness. And then I came back and started to experience the body again. But I knew that this is who I am. So from that moment, this was my path. I knew that something had shifted profoundly in who I knew myself.
You're telling about initiation means even we have heard this type of things in India very often.
Yeah.
Even Swami Vivekananda had this type of initiation by his guru.
Yeah.
So that was the turning point of you becoming from that to coming to Sanatan. That was turning point. So are you married? You are not married.
No. Part of Mahamandaleshwar, I took brahmachari initiation, life of celibacy in 2016.
2016.
Yeah, so I became a brahmachari, so no marriage, full celibate life.
So do you have relation with your family, mother, father, or you have left everyone?
Well, in the West, I think is different sometimes when we think of renunciation.
Okay.
What I've done in my life is, for me, it's guru number one first, always. Sometimes I see my parents, but I've also brought my parents and they became shishya of my guru as well. So I see them when they come for darshan, things like this as well. So, but have become a different relationship, my relationship with my parents. So it's become, we speak of always honoring our mother and honoring our father, and I have great love and respect for them. And that my life now has become one of service, where this becomes always my first thing, my guru.
So what was your family's reaction when you told them that you are going to renunciate, you are going to become a saint, guru, and Swami? So what was your mother, father reaction, your brothers, means family reaction?
Sure. Well, I think in the West, there's a lot of kind of thinking about things, right? So at first it was like, what is this? First there's I don't quite understand. But because, as I shared, my parents came from more of an open perspective on things, they were very curious. And over time, they have come to be very, very happy, very proud, very much saying, this is who our son is, and we're very happy of this. So they are
okay with it,
yes.
that you are going to Sanatan.
Yeah.
Means you are saying that your father was from Jews and your mother was Christian, but
Correct.
they have no problem you coming to Sanatan.
They have had no problem with that. They've seen the joy in my life. They've seen the transformation in my life. They've seen how fulfilled I was. Because when I was before meeting my guru, like in college or in high school, when I was younger, I was very depressed, very not happy, not so good psychologically, not so good mentally all the time. Went through a very dark time. Understand? Very, very unhappy. So when I met my guru and I became so much more joyful and fulfilled in life, they're happy for this.
As of now, you're looking very good, very enlightened, means there is something on your face very good. You're looking very good.
This is the anugrah of my guru, the grace of my guru.
So what was your thought process before coming to this Sanatan? You are saying that you are depressed or this type of things.
Yeah. Well, in the West, for me, when we think of like meaning, purpose of life, what do? Not a lot of role models. Where do I look to find that? So as a result, I went down some bad paths in high school. Drinking alcohol, different drugs, things like that. Taking that wasn't the right path for me. And as a result, became, we could say, energetically weak. My guru teaches that, we all have, and you know this, we all have an auric field. We have subtle bodies, we have chakras, we have energy systems, yes?
Yes.
So what happens when we live a life that's not so good, drugs, alcohol, things like this, our energy system gets weak, and we get these cracks in it. And as a result, other energies come in. And this is not so good. This is not so healthy. So for me, this was happening, I think. My energy field was weak, cracks in there, very much influenced by others, bad influence. So like this, not so good.
You are saying that your family was supporting you, your mother and father was quite supporting to you, that they have seen improvement in your life.
Correct.
But what about your friends? You may have siblings. So what was their reaction about it?
Well, there's the full range, right? So in any human being, in our relationship, and maybe you've seen this too, sometimes not everyone wants us to change because they're comfortable with who we are.
Yes,
This is a natural thing, I think, where we're in any type of relationship, you are who you are, I am who I am. If you change, somehow I feel threatened by that.
Yeah.
Oh no, you're different, am I different? Right? What happens? So in my relationships, some felt threatened and the relationship became more and more distant because they didn't understand the changes. They were threatened in their own sense of identity. They're uncomfortable, right? Unknown. Some people were inspired and shifted and entered into the path with me. And so I have friends today who I've known for many years and who have been in the same path with my guru for a very long time. So it depends on each person in their own awareness, in their own path. So it's like every relationship, we can think of it like this. We're vibration, we're energy. When we increase our frequency, either other people increase their frequency and we continue to resonate together. And if they don't, there's no resonance.
Yeah.
When there's no resonance, the relationship starts getting weaker, and then gone. So for me, it's those who have been in the path and there's a resonance, then I've become stronger and better relationship. Those that haven't, they go and have their own life in their own way. And this is natural.
So there are some people who followed you.
Yes.
There are some people. So it would have been very difficult for you to come to this path because, okay, your parents were followers of hippie movement, but you may have Christian identity or Jewish identity. So you are thinking about embracing different identity.
Yes.
So it would have been very difficult for you, means leaving that, means embracing this one. So how was that process?
Well, I think every human being has a need for belonging, for being part of something. And sometimes when we go into a foreign culture or things like that, we don't feel like we fit in because we don't feel like we belong sometimes. Yet, for me, the path of Sanatan Dharma, when I come here to Bharat, to India, for me there's a great sense of belonging. I don't know, maybe past life, my own, I don't know, right? I don't have these memories, but I have a sense of deep and profound connection with the culture here. So for me, there was a sense of ease and a sense of naturalness to that. Yes, okay, different things like language, right? We're speaking English. I would love to learn more Hindi and spend more time here so I can communicate and be on that level. So that's a goal and aspiration I have. But from an energetic, from a heart, from a place of honoring, Atma, and I love Ganesh, and I love Shiva, and I love Krishna, right? I love all these beautiful beings and deities here. Last night we went to a beautiful puja, and I love puja. So for me, there's a sense of belonging in that has made it much more easeful.
So it was your transformation culturally also, means personally you are transforming into Sanatan Dharma and culturally as well.
Yes.
So able to means cope with it.
Yeah.
So some 15 to 20 years you are into this path. So when you first came to India, what was that time?
My first trip to India was in 2010.
2010.
Yeah.
Okay.
So about 15 years ago.
So what was that experience coming to India? Means where did you first go? When you come to India, where did you first go?
So my first trip to India, I flew into Delhi.
Okay.
And I remember coming out of the airport and the smells and the sights and the people was like, there was this simultaneously sense of like overwhelm of, there's so much happening here, so many smells, so many people, so many things. Right? At the same time, there was a great sense of relaxation and a sense of coming home. And then from Delhi, came up to Haridwar. We took a train up to Haridwar and went to the Kumbh Mela. So my first trip to India was going to the Kumbh Mela in Haridwar with my guru there. So I took a rickshaw, we got there, and they just loved it. I loved it. I loved the yagya, I loved the Ganga, receiving darshan, loving the food. For me, it's a fabulous experience, and I just wanted to keep coming back.
So you were with a group of people at that time.
Yes.
So you are means 15 to 20 years in India. So you're not learning Hindi.
No, because I spend most of my time in the US or traveling. So one of my primary roles is I support my guru in her path and with Jagat Guru Saima's path of teaching Sanatan Dharma to the West. So we spent a lot of time in the US, spent a lot of time in Canada, in Europe, in Japan. So this is a lot of times where my guru's Dharma, we could say, is bringing Sanatan Dharma and bridging the East and the West together. And this is not so easy, right, in the Western mind.
Yes.
Because the Western mind has so much doubt, doesn't have the faith of it, doesn't understand these things. So how do you bring Sanatan Dharma to the Western mind? So this has been my path with my guru. So when I come to India, which I love, maybe once, twice a year, sometimes only come for a week, 2 weeks, things like this, because of the path. Now, in the next few years, I think I'll be spending more time here, but it has been like this.
Please tell us little about Jagadguru Saima Lakshmi Devi ji and her organization. What is about it?
Sure. So many years ago, my guru, Jagadguru Saima Lakshmi Devi, by her guru, Satya Sai Baba, said, go to the West and begin to teach. Begin to teach and bring Sanatan Dharma to the West. So started in California and came to Colorado, and this is where I met my guru during this time, and has been in this path of bringing Sanatan Dharma in a way where, where we've been in this Kali Yuga for a long time now, where there's this sense of separation, there's this sense of suffering, of pain, of fear. And my guru's mission, my guru's Dharma, is how do we shift from the Kali into Satya Yuga, from an old era into a new era. You could say foundationally, there's fear and there's love as two energies on the planet. You understand that, right? When we're in fear, there's a sense of contraction, pain, suffering. Energies like anger, jealousy, all of that come from fear. Love is an energy that expands us. Joy, harmony, peace, shanti, right? Prem. These are qualities of love. So as a society, as a humanity on this planet, fear has been a predominant energy. Would you agree? We see that in politics and economics and even in education. Everywhere we see fear has been driving a lot of it. Scarcity, war, right? All of this comes from fear. Yet natural expression of who we are as Atma, who we are as soul, is love. So my guru is here to remind us and teach us and help us from humanity shift from fear into love. To do that, though, we can't just be here in India, can't just be in Bharat. The world, humanity, because of our interconnectedness, right? We're all connected together, also needs to go through this. So this has been my guru's teaching and mission, we could say, to bring the world into that place of moksha, liberation, enlightenment, so we can shift the energies of humanity.
Ji. So you are into this Hinduism on this path for about 20 years. So which aspect of it attract you most, appeal to you most? Like it's a ritual path, spiritual means philosophy, or way of life, or scriptures?
For me, I enjoy all of it. The number one thing I enjoy, I think, is the sadhana of Sanatan Dharma.
Sadhana.
The sadhana of Sanatan Dharma. So whether that is japa, right, the meditation, dhyan, whether that is bhajan, chanting. For me, there's a juice, there's a power in the sadhana. So like a few days ago, we had Shivaratri here, right?
Yes.
Love Shivaratri, right? Om Namah Shivaya, Hara Hara Mahadev. And so for Shivaratri here in Shakti-Dham Ashram, we do Abhishekam. Love the Abhishekam, right? The Pandits are chanting, there's a power, we're offering to the lingam. For me, love this. Love the ritual aspect of it. And then after Abhishekam, we do all-night sadhana. So we go down into our meditation area we have down here. And then we do the Om Namah Shivaya, right? We do breathing, pranayama. We sit in silence all night from 9 p.m. until 7 a.m. the next morning. And the power of this sadhana cannot be described. This is something we must experience. Because what happens is we go from experiencing ourselves as a human being and the thoughts and the mind and separation, where all of that begins to dissolve and the presence of who we are starts to wake up, starts to come out, because the sadhana clears, purifies the mind, cleanses the mind, so we experience this bliss. And so for me, the sadhana of Sanatan Dharma is so powerful. And for me, this is the foundation of everything. Because when we have this sadhana, when we have this awareness, and we have this experience within then everything else can make sense. It all comes from this.
So on Mahashivratri day, night, you all awake all night.
Yes.
And next morning you sleep or keep
No,
awake?
not necessarily. We start the day, a little earlier we were doing this, we start the day after all-night sadhana. We feed people. So every morning at our ashram, people come, we give them poha, we give chai, right? So feeding, and then we go out on the Ganga. And we took a boat ride on the Ganga. And we continue our day like this.
So here at this ashram at Shakti Dham, you are sporting a Vaishnavite tilak. Vaishnavite tilak. And but you are saying that Shivratri is also celebrated here.
Correct.
Means Shaivism, Vaishnavism combined here. Means
Correct.
there is no difference.
Why create
You follow both.
separation?
Huh.
Right? We love Shiva, we love
Love Shiva.
Krishna, we love Vishnu, right? So why do we need to create separation? We want to honor our lineage. We honor, right, great Sattva Baba Maharaj, who brought us into the Vishnu lineage. So great love for Vishnu, great love for Krishna, right? Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna. So we honor and we love this lineage, the Nimohiyakara, being part of the Kumbh Mela, right? Love this. And we embrace Shiva. We embrace all these different aspects because they're all part of who we are, all part of it.
Ji. Your family, your father was Jews, your mother was Christian, you are
correct.
into Hinduism. So you have seen 3 different religions.
Yes.
There is few more like Islam. And so when you compare these dharma or religion, what difference or what similarity do you find in these all?
Well, for me, at the core of all of them, right, we could say there's the outer trappings. There's the exoteric part of any religion, of any philosophy, of anything there, that might look different. So we see that, and things look different. You go into a Catholic church, and you go to the Vatican in Rome, right? It looks very different than if you come to Vishwanath, right, here in Varanasi. Very different look, very different feel, right? But at the core of it, somewhere there's that presence of divinity, called God, Atma, Source, right? All of that's there. What I love, though, in Sanatan Dharma is it's not about something outside of us. It's at awakening that Atma within and the different facets of it. So for me, I like the direct, immediate relationship with. I don't want an intermediary, someone telling me, no, this is between me and that. I go directly to the padukas, go directly to the source, go directly to the heart of what is there. So for me, I really love this in Sanatan Dharma. I think somewhere in the core of all religions it might be there. I don't know. I don't see that as much, but I don't put my attention there, right? I put my attention on my path here.
So you are saying that in other religions there were some mediatory, no direct relation.
Sometimes, yeah. Over time. I think, if you look at the Christianity, I don't know all of it, but I think it's somewhere there became that sense of the priest becoming an intermediary, especially when there's only Latin, they weren't speaking English at a period, or it's like, here's what it is, and you have to go through their word. But the problem is that they're not enlightened, right? They don't have that direct revelation. So they have their own distortion of their own beliefs and their own thoughts and their own interpretations of things. And then they pass that on. So as a result, there's a dissonance. There's not the full truth of that. So for me, the mystics are the ones that have that direct relationship, and they're the ones that are able to transmute that energy. We could say mystic, we could say enlightenment, we could say rishi, we could say guru, right? And so for me, Bharat, which is unique in India, is there's how many gurus have been here? How many great saints, how many great rishis that have had that direct realization of Atma. And then they transmute that. Not something that's passed down through generations and through a book. This is hard, but you have that direct, this is where there's great power. And there's been this spiritual energy for all of humanity has been served by the spirituality here.
In Hinduism, people also say that there are so many deities, means number of deities.
Yeah.
So how do you think about this? Means so many deities, Vishnu, Brahma, Devis,
Sure.
so many. So
Yeah. Well, there's so many human beings, and each one of us has our own personality, right? Our own, what we like, what we don't like, what we resonate with, right? Not every human being is a friend of yours, right? There are certain people and their personality and their behavior and what they like to eat and what they're interested in that resonate with you. So you become friends, right? You have your own friend group. So in the same way, we have those aspects of divinity, the aspects of Para Atma, right? And the expression of that resonate with us. and different aspects resonate with different people. And I think this is what's so beautiful in Sanatan Dharma, is those that resonate, we can bring into our life and we can have relationship with.
Yeah, in Sanatan there is like freedom. Whoever he wants to follow,
very
follow.
Inclusive,
No,
very
in
inclusive.
Other religions, a single person or single means, that is no freedom. Like in Sanatan, so many deities you follow, whoever you wants to follow.
Yeah.
So this type of concept here.
Correct.
So in West, people often associate Hinduism with mysticism and yoga.
Correct.
How do you explain its true essence beyond these aspects?
Well, like I'll give you an example, right? In the West, many people, when I say yoga to someone, what do they think of? They think of going to a studio and doing exercise, right? So this is often the concept of what Sanatan Dharma, even what yoga is in the West, right? They don't understand Patanjali Sutra. They don't understand these things. They just know, I'm going to stretch and exercise and then I feel better. Fine. But what my guru teaches, yoga, right? Union. Being yoked, becoming one with the divine. And so this path, this big path, this huge path of yoga then encompasses all of it. It becomes a path of becoming one with the divine. So this is, I think, a good example to help people understand the difference between exercise and a path that has people become at one with the union of who they are themselves. So it's about opening and exposing people's awareness to the larger what's available to them.
Please tell us about your daily routine or spiritual routine and how does it transform your life?
Yes. So earlier I spoke of our senses always being out, right? And so what happens when we always have our sense focused outwards, I'm always looking outside of myself, is we become agitated easily. Because if something is that we don't like, then we become shaken by that, right? And we see that in people that are not grounded in themselves. So for me, this sadhana, going from the out to going within, is a necessity. So in the morning, right after shower, all of that, sitting in meditation, doing arti. I love doing arti to my guru.
You wake up at 4 a.m., 3 a.m.?
Depending where I am in the country. My life is unique like that, where much of my life becomes karma yoga. So it depends where I am. When I'm in one place and have a routine, beautiful. But sometimes it changes and does different things like that. But to start that day with connecting within, then what happens is as I go through my day, as you go through your day, as any of us go through our day, we're less reacting to the world. We're not pulled into things and then we're responding with anger or frustration or jealousy. If we become anchored in ourselves through our sadhana, through my meditation in my morning, right? Through my japa, my guru mantra, through doing mantras of different mantras. When I practice that, I become anchored in myself, meaning I become connected within. And then as I move through my day, I come from this place and not from the outer place. So there becomes that alignment. So for me, this is essential. And then it's not just in the morning. Right, this is something my guru teaches. Sometimes in the West particularly, there's this concept of sadhana is like, okay, I sit in the morning, I do my meditation, and then this is complete. No, right? Sadhana is every day throughout the whole day. Before I eat my meal, am I taking a moment? Am I blessing my meal? Am I present with my gratitude? Am I doing, a chant or a mantra? When I interact, when I start something else, am I bringing awareness to that? This is the full path, where we bring our sadhana into everything that we do. It doesn't just become one thing.
You're vegetarian?
Yes.
And before?
My parents were vegetarian, so yes, been vegetarian my whole life. But, as I mentioned earlier, things like alcohol, things like that, when I was younger I did this. But when I became brahmachari before that, when this all stopped.
You are Mahamandaleshwar at Nirvadi Akhada. So what do you mean by Mahamandaleshwar and what are your responsibilities in it?
Yeah, so the Nirmohyakara is part of Sadhu Society. The Sadhu Society is a network of sadhus, of saints around all of Bharat who hold the path and the dharma of holding Sanatan Dharma for humanity. Through our own sadhana, through teaching, right? There's a network, we could say, that holds that. The unique role of Mahamandaleshwar, the unique responsibility of a Mahamandaleshwar is to be a leader. So it's not just, my life doesn't just become about me anymore. my life becomes about serving others, bringing others together, becomes about teaching, becomes about serving humanity rather than just serving myself. So you could say it becomes about being less and less selfish and becoming more and more selfless in serving others. So it's that leadership aspect. There's being a leader for Sanatan Dharma, there's being a leader for a community, being an example in that. It's a big responsibility.
We see that there is a growing interest about Hinduism in Western world. In past also we have seen that Swami Vivekananda was there.
And Yogananda ji, many, yes.
Also is having a quite good influence there. Srila Prabhupada.
That's right.
So how do you see this influence, this growing towards Hinduism? How do you see this?
Well, I think if we look, and we spoke earlier a little bit about this, if we look at what's happening with humanity right now, there's so much of a sense of dissatisfaction in the West. People are lost. People are not happy. And things are breaking. Systems are breaking. Ways of doing things are breaking. People are lost. They don't know what to do. They're unhappy. So when people are unhappy, they're looking for something new to show them, how do I be happy? What is the meaning of my life? Where do I belong? So in this inquiry, in this trying to find things, I think that the path of Sanatan Dharma, the sadhana of Sanatan Dharma, the teachings, the philosophy, will find a home there. Because as I shared with you, when I started my own practice and my own path, what happened for me has been miraculous. My own sense of joy and fulfillment in life. So I know when others will start to experience this, when they have experienced pranayama, when they do japa, when they read some of Bhagavad Gita, it answers these questions for people. And so they'll want more. So I see this more and more happening, where people are wishing, they want a deeper connection with Atma. They want a deeper connection with divinity. And they can find that through Sanatan Dharma. They can find that through these teachings.
So you're saying that Western culture is about materialistic, means
For
materialism
many, yes.
is there.
Yeah.
So much materialism.
So much materialism. They worship money, worship sex, worship power, right? This is the worship of America. Here we worship Shiva, right? Worship Vishnu. It's very different. But when you worship these things of the body, we worship money, we worship power, it's very shallow. Eventually something happens, maybe a disease, or someone gets fired, or relationship breaks. And then what? Realize that what I've been worshiping my whole life doesn't give me what I'm looking for. So then something new is needed.
And which scriptures have you read about Hinduism?
Well, for me, the Bhagavad Gita is number one. Because for me, the Bhagavad Gita shows us all these questions of life. That for me, the core part of that Bhagavad Gita, right? Krishna says to Arjuna, you're not the doer, right? I am the doer. And when we understand this, the attachments, the pain, the suffering we experience of trying to be the doer in life is dissipated, and we can offer ourselves in a whole different way. Renunciation, right? Tyaga, renouncing the fruits of our actions and doing action for the sake of action. Or the path of bhakti, the path of karma yoga, right? All of this. So for me, number one is Bhagavad Gita. But I love, recently I've been revisiting the Ramayana and the path of the righteousness and the path of Rama, especially of so much in Ayodhya and the Ram temple and how much Jai Shri Ram, right, is part of the Kumbh Mela. So revisiting my relationship with Ram. But for me, the Bhagavad Gita this is number one.
So you have read Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana, and others?
Oh, of course, there's the Upanishads, right? And looking at this. Yes, I reading the Upanishads some here. But for me, it's the core. And then, of course, there's the Vedas. But for me, the Vedas are more when we do our yagya, when we do our puja, sitting with, having the Pandits chant the Vedas, right, as a whole in that sense. So for me, this is more on the level of sadhana, on the level of resonance that I experience that. For the philosophy, this is more where I go. The Upanishads, the Ramayana, the Bhagavad Gita, like this.
So you are going to get married or not?
No. Celibacy. For me, I'm sannyasi.
Sannyasi. And what do you tell people to get married or not?
This is their own dharma, right? Everyone has their own karma. Everyone has their own dharma. I knew for me what was right was the path of sannyasi. For everyone, this will be different. Because I don't know. Their soul, their karma, what they incarnated for, right? We have many lifetimes. So what is the purpose of this lifetime for you, for me? It's different.
Different.
So I'm not going to tell you, you must be sannyasi. No, 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 no. What does your heart tell you, right? Each one is for different, and that's okay.
So, in your experience, what are the biggest misconceptions about Hinduism in West?
The biggest misconception, I think for some people, I'd say two things. One, I mentioned earlier this idea of yoga, right? That it's just these physical exercises, that it's very shallow in that. So there's this sense of depth of what yoga is. People say namaste. Do they know what namaste means? Right? Maybe yes, maybe no. Right? But if we really move with awareness, we move with presence, and I look at you, namaste, and I activate and I feel the Atma with you, and I feel it within me, and we meet together, and we experience that. For me, I think this is the biggest one, and this is just from an ignorance of not knowing the depth of what's available when we say these things. So for me, this is, I think, the biggest thing in the West, of not understanding the depth of the energy of what's available when we say these words, when we say these things.
How do you counter the criticism that Hinduism is just idol worship or a collection of superstitions?
I don't experience this so much. You know, I've been speaking to many people, and for many people I know and speaking with, they understand it more of the philosophy of life, right? Sanatan Dharma, the truth, the eternal way of living, where there's this philosophy. There's such an ancient culture here in Bharat, right? It continuously lived in. We're here in Kashi, right? The oldest city in the world. We're continuously lived in. For thousands of years, humanity has been living where we are right now. And so over time, naturally, how do we live life? The contemplation of this is refined into this beautiful philosophy. So for me, this is it more than anything, helping people understand the refinement of the philosophy of life. I don't experience as much of the criticism.
You are saying that in Western countries there are materialistic things like they worship money, sex, and materials.
Correct.
In India and other countries also, Western media is having a great influence.
Yes.
Here also we are getting influenced by this.
The world is more and more interconnected, right?
So-
One world now, the media and social media, all of this.
So what needs to be done to promote this Hinduism to all over the world, as you are Mahamandaleshwar,
No.
you are into this.
Yeah.
already. So what needs to be done?
Well, I think we need to connect with people where they are. So for me, this is why I spend so much time traveling around the world. So whether I'm going to New York or Philadelphia or Brussels or Tokyo, right? Wherever I'm going, it's about meeting people where they are and showing them, particularly I think at the beginning, it's about showing them experiences. Because for humanity, I can say, oh, here's a philosophy, here's a story, and maybe it resonates. But if you have an experience of yourself, do pranayama together, do japa, sit together, experience satsang, experience this coming sangha, right? We come together. Then you have an experience of your atma. Then you're maybe more interested in these things and want to learn more. So for me, this has been the biggest way to bring these teachings, to bring these philosophy around the world, is to introduce people through experiences and then see what is important for them in their life. What questions do they have? And then I can offer teachings to say, yes, this is how you can think about this. Here's a story to think about this in different ways, right? Here's a philosophy there. But just to kind of put it out there like that, people are full, they don't hear it. There's a resistance to that. So we need to bring people into the experience of it. And this is where we've been focused.
You might have faced many difficulties in propagating Hinduism to other peoples. So is there any difficulty you can tell?
Well, I think the main difficulty I have, right? I have with my guru, for example, we travel. My guru has great blessings, great divinity of power, Shaktipat, that can help transform people's life like this. But we go in the West, and it's like people are not interested,
Yes.
right? They rather look at, okay, what is the next car I'm going to buy? I want to have a more beautiful wife, whatever this is, right? I want, I want more money, right? They're not interested. It's like we have this beautiful bowl full of diamonds of wisdom, right? And that can transform someone's life. But they're over here and they have this peanuts, right? They have these little things, but they're tasty and they want to just keep eating them. But we're saying, here's diamonds, your life can be transformed. And they're just not interested. They want to keep going down this path that's going to take them eventually nowhere. This is the biggest challenge, that people are not interested. They're not even open to what can transform their life.
Is there any protest or means revolt against your organization or your works you are doing?
Well, when we serve people from the heart,
Okay.
right? What are they revolting against? We're about inclusivity. We welcome people where they are. We don't try to, for me, it's not about imposing anything on anyone. It's about bringing them into becoming a better life, of a more fulfilling life, a life where there's that sense of dharmic expression, where the Atma is happy. When we leave our life at the end of the life, this is how I think about it sometimes. Let's say you're lying in bed, right, in a hospital or at home, and you know your time on earth is coming to an end. And you look back at life and the life that you've lived. Do you feel good? Are you happy with the life? Have you served? Right? Have you done sadhana? Do you feel connected with the divine? Is there a sense of peace to say, okay, yes, I will leave this mortal vehicle and I'll move into the other lokas with joy, or not? So for me, it's how do I live my life and how do I support others to live their life, so at that moment they can say, yes, this life has been a good life and now I can move on.
This Saktidham ashram is headquartered in US.
We have a headquarter in the US, but we have centers around the world.
Around the world.
Yeah.
So you have centers in Muslim countries as well?
We have students in Muslim countries.
Muslim countries.
Sure. We have students in Egypt and other places.
So they are also showing interest in this path.
Correct.
They are also showing interest.
Yes.
Okay. So you are from psychology background.
Yeah.
You are coming from America. You know about science, scientific things. So how do you think means Hinduism, science, psychology, their relation?
Yeah. If we look in the Vedas, and you go to some temples in India, and you look on the wall, what do we see? We see spaceships, right? We see planes. We see these things from thousands of years ago, but in the modern Western scientific world, we feel like we're just discovering them. So sometimes when I see this, and I think about the knowledge that exists in the Vedas, and I think about the knowledge that exists in Sanatan Dharma, and the cyclical nature of the yugas, right? And the technology that has been lost that is now coming back. I think about that ancientness of the wisdom. So it's not like it's new. All these technology advances we're having, and say, oh, we're so great, we're the best, right? But it's something that's coming back. There's this new cycle that's coming. So for me, there's this depth in Sanatan Dharma, there's this depth in the Vedas that show us that humanity has been to great places, and we can do that again. But we need to come together with heart. Because without the heart, without love, where will we go? So for me, this is how I think about it some. And yes, okay, the Western scientific advancement can be helpful, but we need to ground that in spirituality. We want to ground that in the heart. So there's this integrative approach to where we're going as humanity.
You were at Kumbh. What was your experience at Mahakumbh?
The Kumbh is an extraordinary experience. There's nowhere on earth where hundreds of millions of people, hundreds of millions. I heard recently there are over 620 million people that took a bath at the Kumbh, took a snan at the Kumbh this time. This is extraordinary. So my experience of all of this humanity coming together, there becomes this vortex of energy, this energy field at the Kumbh that is buzzing, that is so powerful that anyone who enters into it, their consciousness is transformed. Their consciousness is uplifted. Not only for the people that were there, for me the experience was as being in bliss. Just in bliss.
So this was your first time at Kumbh, means first time at Haridwar, na? This was
first time in Haridwar in 2010, then in Prayagraj was in 2013 and 2019. So this was my fourth Kumbh Mela.
So every time you come to Kumbh?
When I can, yes.
So is there any difference this time compared to others?
My experience was it was like it keeps building on each other. You know, this experience of momentum, of growth. So this one was bigger. The energy was bigger. The humanity there was bigger. Everything becomes more and more powerful. And this was the Triveni Yoga, right? The 144, the coming together of all of this power coming together. This is very powerful Kumbh Mela.
There is a growing revival of Hindu identity across the world. How do you see this? When so many people are coming to Hinduism these days, so many people are accepting it.
Well, when we move from the Kali into the Satya Yuga, naturally humanity is going to want to experience more of the truth of who we are. And Sanatan Dharma can help show that.
Hinduism had survived many invasions and challenges. So what in your opinion is the biggest challenge today?
The biggest challenge today, well, I think you spoke to it earlier. With the Western philosophy of the worship of money, worship of materialism, and the interconnectedness of social media, right? Those Western ideas are coming also here. They're coming everywhere. So the young people today are being given more of a challenge. Do I want to follow this, the popularism of the Western ideas, of the clothes, of the fashion, right, of all these ideas? Or do I go in a different path? So I think as the younger people are growing, there's more and more exposure to these different ideas. So how do we support and guide them into the best path? I think this is a big challenge in the new generation.
What is your opinion about religious conversions? Because in Hinduism, we do not encourage conversions. Like in Islam, we see that they are actively into promoting conversions.
Sure.
They want to everyone become Muslim. In Christianity also we see, but Hinduism we don't see like this.
No.
Actively we don't do this. So do you think we should also actively do this type of conversions?
No, for me, one of the things that I so appreciate about Sanatan Dharma is how inclusive it is. Right? It's so inclusive. Everyone's welcome. I've never felt like I don't belong. I've never felt judged. Right? So for me, that inclusivity is a guiding light. And I don't want to see that change. Where we can welcome everyone, we can show them, we can love them, we can help them become a better human being. Because the philosophy of Sanatan Dharma can serve everyone. So why do we need to create you have to do this, why create these boxes? For me, this is part of that old paradigm of fear. This is part of the Kali Yuga. When we move into the Satya Yuga, it becomes about a shared humanity. We become a one world brotherhood, one world sisterhood, one humanity, where the philosophy of Sanatan Dharma can serve. But not trying to put anyone in a box. For me, that doesn't serve anymore. Let people be free and have them see the path that will serve them.
Which places in India have you visited? You said you went to Haridwar, you went to Mahakumbh Prayagraj,
Yeah.
and other places you visited in India. You have been into this path for 20 years, so you might have visited so many parts of India.
Yeah. Well, I'll share some of the favorite places I've been that have a great Shakti, a great resonance. One, of course, Kashi.
Kashi.
Well, nothing else like Kashi in the whole world. You go down to the Ganga, right? You go to Vishwanath, walking around. Last night I was at Kalbaro, right? Nothing like Kashi. The Shakti, the power for sadhana, for moksha is nothing like it. For me, I also love Haridwar. I love Rishikesh, to go up into the foothills of the Himalayas. And I've also had the blessings to go up into the Himalayas, some to do some sadhana. I spent sadhana up in Uttarkashi, where you go up there, the Ganga is so clear, right? Everything is so pristine up there. Walking through the Himalayas, meeting yogis up there, doing sadhana. There's a Shanti up there that is so powerful. The energies in the Himalayas is nothing like anywhere I've been. To go there, to see the peaks, and to experience the energy there, phenomenal, phenomenal. And then also I love South India. Like going into Bangalore, I've gone to Puttaparthi. This is the guru of my Padam guru, right? Satya Sai Baba there. Seeing and being there, I also treasure this. So for me, these are my favorite places. And I look forward to exploring more, because for me, Bharat, India, is a treasure house. There are so many beautiful places to discover and experience. And I look forward to the opportunity to come back more and more to experience different places.
Have you heard about the Dasavatar of Vishnu? Dasavatar of Vishnu?
Ah, where is this? No.
So in India we have concept like Vishnuji has 10 avatars.
Oh, the avatars. Okay,
10
yes,
10
yes.
avatars.
Yes. Okay,
It means Sri Ram is one of the avatars.
Yes. I'm
And
familiar with that.
in the final of Kali Yuga, Kalki will arrive.
Correct.
So have you heard about this?
Yes, I know. I've heard of Kalki. Recently, my Guruji, Jagat Guru Saima, has been speaking of and working with the energy of Kalki more and more, feeling that energy coming to humanity more and more. So yes, Kalki is coming.
So you are going to Mathura for Holi.
Yes.
That is also one of the avatars of Bhagwan Vishnu.
Yes.
Sri
Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna.
How do you see the future of Hinduism in next 50 years, or Sanatan Dharm, you can say, in next 50 years?
Sure. I think as humanity goes through these shakes, and it becomes more and more turbulent, and people are more and more lost, the culture, the philosophy of Sanatan Dharma is going to find a place in more and more hearts of humanity. Because we will be looking for, as I said earlier, a place to belong. Where do I belong? Looking for a path to how do I ground myself, or how do I anchor myself in myself, the sadhana, so I become unshakable no matter what happens around me. And Sanatan Dharma will show this to people. So for me, those core elements of Sanatan Dharma that will serve people become a better human being, to have a better life, to have a life connected and aligned with their soul, with their Atma, with their Dharma, will become stronger and stronger. So I think it'll become more and more of a place of leadership on this planet. And I see the same for India, for Bharat. More and more people will be looking for Bharat for leadership. Where do we go as humanity? What's happening? And I think more and more the leadership for all of humanity will be coming from here.
As you have experience of many religions or dharmas, like Christianity, Judaism, Hinduism, and why did you choose only Hinduism? And there are other religions as well, like Islam is there and Parsis are there. So what is your thought process about this?
Well, I can't speak for others, right? In my own experience, with me, with myself and my path, in meeting my guru, this was it. What else to say, right? The path my guru has provided, what's happened in my life. There's nothing else to say. This is my guru.
What do you suggest to people who want to practice their faith in Hinduism? Means how they deepen their faith, deepen their practice in Hinduism, how they can experience Hinduism in full potential?
Yeah. For me, sadhana.
Sadhana.
It comes back to sadhana. Because when we shift, right, and this is more of a psychological way to think sometimes, but when we shift our mind, when we shift our consciousness, when we shift our vibration, meaning when we increase our vibration, when we shift our consciousness, then our entire life transforms. So number one is sadhana, because this is the practice that will have us shift how we see the world, and have us shift how we see ourselves. And then we take different action. So think of it as the foundation is awareness. And awareness is increased through sadhana. So if we want to become a better practitioner of Sanatan Dharma, if we want a deeper connection with our Ishtadeva, right? If we want to have our heart open more, if we want to live a greater life and have greater success in our Dharma, it becomes about sadhana. This is the number one thing.
What type of food yogis and you eat? Means what type of food? Means normal people eat roti sabji?
Yeah. So if we bring awareness, right? And I'm sure you've had this experience. If I eat something, it impacts me. It impacts my body. It impacts my consciousness. The next time I sit for meditation, it impacts my sadhana. So we need to be aware. Sometimes we do one thing and we forget we've done it, and we do the next thing and we don't remember the impact of it. You understand?
Yeah.
So when our food is the same way. It's not just about the food we eat in the moment, but it's what does that impact on my day? How does that impact my quality of my mind and the quality of my thoughts? So this is where we want to have sattvic food, right? If we have tamasic, if we have rajasic food, then our mind becomes agitated. Then we become slothy, we become tired. So we want to have sattvic food. We want to have pure food. We want to have a lot of good vegetables, right? Ghee, things like this that are sattvic, because then our life becomes better. If we have other foods, then our life become more tired, become more agitated. So for me, it's about awareness. How is the food that I'm eating impacting the life that I'm living?
Do you eat outside?
No, when I'm here in Kashi, we eat at home. We know this is where we have the sattvic food here. You know, when I'm traveling, we have to find things in different ways. And this is the compromise of bringing Sanatan Dharma to the West and the challenge of it. But for me, when I'm in my home, I cook or someone's cooking for me. This is the best.
So what do you eat outside when you're traveling? What do you eat outside?
As much as I can get sattvic food. This is it, you know. It depends where I am and what's there. Like, for example, Japan, when we go there, has very good sattvic food.
Achha.
It has very light, very pure food there.
In China?
In Japan, where we go often, right?
And in China?
Oh, I have not been to China. I don't know.
So you don't eat fast foods?
No,
burger,
no fast
this type
food.
of things?
No.
So you, I think, only eat fruits, or in Japan, sattvic foods.
And when we have, for example, we have Ekadasi. So in Ekadasi, then we have Falhari. So it depends on the day and what's happening too. Yeah, so for Falhari, yes, fruit, nuts, milk, things like this.
You are saying that in Japan there are so many types of sattvic food available readily. So what type of foods in Japan there?
So for example, in Japan, things like they have good seaweeds, very fresh vegetables, soba noodles, very fresh, very clean, very sattvic there.
Your message to the world or means people around, your final message, what do you want to convey to the people?
Yeah. Want me to look here or look here?
Anywhere.
Sure. Om Jai Jai Sai Ma. With everything happening in the world today, we can look at the news, we can look there. There's so much to distract ourselves. For me, what I've found through the anugrah, through the blessings of my guru, is the power and the importance of sadhana. When I take time, and even right now, I invite you in this moment with me to take a breath. Full breath. Exhale that breath. Another breath. Exhale this breath. Now breathe deeply and hold the breath. Roll the eyes up, focus the eyes between the eyes in the Ajna chakra. And just hold the breath for as long as we can for a moment. And when we're ready, exhale the breath. And feel what happens in ourselves, in our own consciousness. The peace, the expansion, the lightness of being that we experience. If every day we take moments as we go throughout our day to do this, to breathe, to anchor ourselves in our own Atma and presence, life can become magical. The life of a human being is precious. Our incarnation is precious. Let's not waste a moment. Everything's accelerating. Everything's becoming more and more intense. Now is the time to remember to anchor ourselves in our sadhana, to serve our brothers and sisters, and to live that life where we can be proud when we leave the body. We can know we lived a good life. For me, that comes back to our sadhana. So I wish you and offer you great blessings in your sadhana so you can also be of service to yourself and to humanity. With great love and great blessings. Om Jai Jai Sai Ma. Namaste.
One more question comes to my mind. You are wearing Rudraksha mala and Tulsi mala as well. Rudraksha represents Bhagavan Shiva and Tulsi is very dear to Bhagavan Vishnu.
Correct.
So you are wearing both.
Yeah.
So both are encouraged in Shakti Dharma.
Yeah.
Okay. And any message left, means any topic we left you want to say?
Any topic left? For me, the core, whether it's Sanatan Dharma, spirituality, comes back to love. Right? We can, in every moment of our lives, we can choose to, with our thoughts, with our feelings, with our actions, we can choose to feed the energies of fear or the energies of love. To choose to feed the energies of separation, creating separation in humanity, or unity, where we see that unity. I look in your eyes and I see Atma, I see myself reflected back in you, and I know the oneness of who we are. So for me, this is the precious gift that we have of free will, of choice that we have. How are we directing our energy, our unique energy, our unique power as a human being at this time? And to continue to choose love again and again and again. Because each moment of life we have that choice. And so we have so much support to know that we're not alone. Like, we're not alone. We're together, we have the deities, we have the guru, we have all these beings who are here with us to serve us, to live that life of love. So let's choose that again and again and again to the point where it becomes a choiceless choice, where we decide that. And then we begin to embody this, the realization of the embodiment of love, of prem, and then we can serve humanity. So for me, this is the path that I focus on, and I invite us all into this path together. Because together, when we do this, it makes a difference. All of humanity is impacted here.
Thank you very much for giving us time and talking to us and enlightening us. Thank you very much. Namaste.
Namaste.